for today's cup of coffee, youngest kid has already started by playing this very strange little song about. It was sad. It would have made a hell of a country western song back in the day.
It's really not that would have. Bad.
It's depressing.
Look up Dealer on YouTube and see which song comes up first. It's going to be Lana Del Rey.
Oh, God. Well, that explains it all, didn't it?
I don't remember his name, though, because he sings in most of the song.
Anyhow.
He sings the majority of the song.
Well, what we're actually going to be discussing, this was a suggestion from my mother. I don't know exactly what show she has watched on some of these, but this is interesting, and I didn't mind researching this one at all. Not that I minded the other one. I will tell you, because that it does have Native American words in it. I spent like a half an hour trying to find the pronunciations, trying to practice the pronunciations. So if I totally screw that up, it is not because I haven't even tried. Yeah.
All right.
So anyhow, this is about the mysterious little people of the Cherokee. Oh. And of course, since this is Brent Swancer weekend, Mr. Swancer of Mysterious Universe, he wrote this June 20th of 2019, because Mr. Swancer has become near and dear to my heart. He has.
It's not a poem.
It's okay. It's okay. And there's a lot of people that, like I said, something can read totally different than it is narrated. So I do encourage people to, because I do edit it, and for people to go to the link that's in the description box and read it, because there's a lot of people that may very much enjoy Mr. Swancer's writing style. I would. And I do enjoy his writing style. It's just kind of difficult as far as, like I said, to orate it.
That's the main issue. Dumb it down just a little bit.
Well, it's not. It's meant to be read, not necessarily read aloud.
It's meant to be read in silence.
Well, yeah, there's some things that's like
keep your mouth shut and read.
Anyhow, this is a cool legend, and I had heard of the Cherokee Little People before, and
they like 3 foot high, 2 foot high.
We're gonna get there. But seems like I had. There was a documentary at some point about that they had found actual hobbits, that they were similar to the hobbits. And these creatures may fall within that category.
Loves it.
So that's pretty cool. So Mr. Swancer writes, among the many legends of the Cherokee people of North America is the curious tale of a race of little people who they said inhabited the wilds of North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia, and who the natives called the Nunnehi.
Nunnehi.
Meaning people who live anywhere, as well as the Yunwi Justi. That's the little people. So that'd be a cool thing.
Midgets for short.
Well, oh no, that was so bad. It was so bad. And
it took you a second though.
Yes, they were said to look just like human beings, only smaller. And in some traditions, no higher than a man's knee. So these were less than 3 foot tall.
Right.
And some say that they had various powers, such as the ability to vanish, to teleport from place to place, and to live forever. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Nunnehi were mostly considered to be a jovial race, inclined to dance and sing, and they were also seen as benevolent protectors of the forest and helpers of lost travelers. It was not uncommon for hunters to tell of hearing the drums of the Nunnehi off in the distance, although it was said that to try and track the sound to its source was futile. The sound was always growing further away. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And these mysterious entities were said to remain invisible most of the time, watching humans from afar, inhabiting the most remote mountain peaks and darkest caves far from human interference. But they were also known to appear to the Cherokee during times of need, such as war or calamity. and they were supposedly fiercely protective of the tribe and would rally together with forces of invisible warriors to drive away enemies. So that would be interesting to find out who the force of invisible warriors were. Mm-hmm. They were said to construct elaborate townhouses underground or within mountains, such as one supposedly lying under Blood Mountain in Georgia and Lake Trollita, and another under Pilot Knob and the Niquosi Mound in North Carolina. Well, I'm trying to. It's Niquosi, I think is actually how it's pronounced. Humans were lost or injured, told of being brought to the subterranean homes to be cared for or nursed back to health by the Nunnehi. And some Cherokee were said to even go off and live with them permanently. It was said that in order to be accepted, one had to fast for 7 days, and then they would be taken into the lairs to live out the rest of their days. On very rare occasions, there were such townhouses found near human settlements, and the American ethnologist. See, I screwed that up. I did pretty good on the Cherokee and screwed up the English. The American ethnologist James Mooney, and I had to look up what is an ethnologist. And basically, it's a form of cultural anthropology. He wrote in his 1898 Myths of the Cherokee the following.
At first I thought you were going to be like 1898 Mitsubishi.
No, I don't think that.
Mitsubishi.
It was a little bit before the Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi cart. Horse cart.
Oh, God, that's funny. All right. Anyhow, quote, close to the old trading path from South Carolina to the Cherokee Nations, somewhere near the head of Tougaloo, there was formerly a noted circular depression about the size of a townhouse and waist deep. Inside it was always clean, as though swept by unknown hands. Passing traders would throw logs and rocks into it, but would always on the return find them thrown far out from the hole. The Indians said it was the Nunahi Townhouse, and never liked to go near the place or even talk about it, until at last some logs thrown in by the traders were allowed to remain there, and then they concluded that the Nunahi, annoyed by the persecution of the white men, had abandoned their townhouse forever, end quote. Well, now, if somebody kept throwing shit in your house, wouldn't you get aggravated?
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, I think it's one of those that I'd have dug a pit for these people that kept doing that.
Same.
Yeah. So,
I'd have done it right back to them.
Really. A very curious tale of a supposed encounter was also told by Mooney in his writings. And this one had to do with a local man in the town of Nunnehi when he was a child, and that he met an old stranger out in the forest who invited him to his home. The boy agreed and found it to be a happy place full of warmth and laughter, and he ate dinner with the whole family before falling asleep. When he awoke in the morning, the man took him out along a path that would lead him home. Mooney writes the following, quote, they went down a path that had a cornfield on one side and a peach orchard fenced in on the other until they came to another trail. And the man said, go along this trail across that ridge and you will come to the river road that will bring you straight to your home. And now I'll go back to the house. So the man went back to the house and the boy went on along the trail. But when he had gone a little way, he looked back, and there was no cornfield or orchard or fence or house, nothing but trees on the mountainside. He thought it very queer, but somehow he was not frightened, and went on until he came to the river trail in sight of his home. There were a great many people standing about talking, and when they saw him, they ran toward him shouting, here he is! He is not drowned or killed in the mountains. They told him that they had been hunting him ever since yesterday noon, and asked him where he had been. A man took me over to his house just across the ridge, and I had a fine dinner and a good time with his children, said the boy. I thought Udsi Scala was the name of the man he had seen at dinner. Would tell you where I was. But Udsi Scala said, I haven't seen you. I was out all day in my canoe hunting you. It was one of the Nunnehi that had made himself look like me. Then his mother said, you said you had dinner there? Yes, I had plenty too, said the boy. But his mother answered, There is no house there, only trees and rocks. But we hear a drum sometimes in the big bald above. The people you saw were the Nunnehi, end quote.
That's fucking cool.
It's a really cool story.
Yeah.
And it seems like to be pure folklore and legend, but there are some that suggest there may be a grain of truth behind these myths. An author and researcher, Mary Joyce, has written of the phenomenon in her book, Cherokee Little People Were Real. Joyce claims that she has uncovered evidence that was indeed a race of tiny humans who could have been behind the tales. Were you going to say something?
No.
Some of this evidence was uncovered by Walter Middleton, who was one of the people behind the construction of the Western Carolina University campus in the 1930s, during which they supposedly made some strange discoveries. Joyce states, quote, he and a few other men actually worked on the first buildings that were constructed at Western Carolina University. And when they were cutting into the virgin land, they found these little tunnels. They also found a little skull. And there was a science teacher at the university who kept it on his desk, and he always said it was a child's skull. One day, another teacher came by and picked it up and looked at it real close and noticed it had wisdom teeth. Typically, you don't get your wisdom teeth until you're about 18, 19, 20, or 21, so that indicated it was an adult skull, not a child's skull, end quote.
Oh, hell.
Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty cool legend.
Yeah, I like that one.
And discussion. So
that one's a lot better than the
Rougarou.
Rougarou.
The Rougarou was interesting. It was just a Rougarou could be anything and everything. But there's lots of places that have legends of little people. Mm-hmm. Different types of species that used to live amongst us. We don't know if they're still there and we can no longer see them, or if it's a matter of that they went someplace where humans can't, invade. Mm-hmm. And it's like, everybody wants us to believe that everybody's on top of each other. That's an urban thing where people truly are on top of each other. Yeah. But there's still a lot of uninhabited lands on the planet. Mm-hmm. So, and if these little folks were able to build tunnels and stuff, they
are literally hobbits.
Yeah, the hobbits were cool. I mean, it's sort of like that. You've
Yogscast, dude.
How old is it?
That's a classic Yogscast.
Oh, I don't know that one. You've
Minecrafters.
Oh, okay.
One of them played a dwarf.
Okay. Well, even as far as the legends of the dwarfs and stuff like that they lived under the mountains. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, every culture has got legends of these people that lived in a subterranean world. Mm-hmm. And it was like we had discussed about the ant people. But now they weren't little. They were just odd.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's under our feet on a lot of this stuff. I wouldn't mind having a hobbit hole. I think the hobbit hole is a pretty cool thing.
Oh, there's a bomb shelter that's listed on Zillow. It's huge.
Mm-hmm. It looks like a hobbit hole.
Yeah. It looks like a fucking hobbit hole, but on the inside it's like, oh my God.
Right. Because it's sort of smart, and I'm sure it was concrete construction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It looks spooky as fuck, but damn, I want to live in it.
Well, just think about it. We've got all these hills and stuff right here. It wouldn't be that hard.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
We could do that in the backyard. We got room.
Well, we could put it right the hill behind the house.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we don't know. I thought it was interesting because in our area here in Southwest Virginia, we're not West Virginia. It is Southwest or Southwestern Virginia. Because people get that confused. No, and nothing against the people from West Virginia. It's just that ain't where we're from. They think we're the odd bunch.
Well, but they're the ones that have the inbreeding issues.
Well, those people are back further than we live. we're only about...
It's disturbing as fuck.
Right, but that's for another cup. As far as possible inbreeding, that's... Yeah. When cousins marry, this is what you... As long as it's second cousin down, they said it was okay.
Bullshit.
I'm just telling you.
It's not okay. Period.
People, when they... Back in the day...
No, I don't want to hear it.
Horse and buggy.
I don't want to hear it.
When they got up on some of these mountains, that was it. They were there.
Yeah, that is true.
Because to try to come down off of the mountain was a hardship. And so that was some of the reasons for the inbreeding. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying that this is some of how that was done. There's inbreeding in every culture.
It's disgusting.
Well, it is. The thought of it is. But this is what happened. You were the one that started it.
I didn't expect you to take it and roll with it.
You know how I am.
Well, stop it.
Anyhow, you've totally derailed me. I didn't take Stratera today. But we were, as far as... We were told that the Cherokee also were in this area. And then we were told, I can't remember if it was the Iroquois or what.
It's a mixture.
We had a tremendous amount of Native American, archaeology and stuff in this area. Mm-hmm. Because of the salt that was located here. Because this area at one point was underwater. We have a tremendous amount of salt deposits. They have done archaeological digs that have found everything from, was it a mastodon? No, it's a woolly mammoth. That was what it was.
Yeah, because woolly.
Right. And in addition to the Native American tribes, so this was a trading hub for a lot of things, with the salt. Mm-hmm. And then as far as the people in the area that we do have Native American heritage, we don't even know. There was not enough left to even know what it is. And people are like, you're doing one of them Elizabeth Warren thing. No, I can show you my dental records because people with Native American heritage have different dental issues.
Yeah.
You got double plates on the mandible. So dentists have to try to get needle in between there. Then we've got the teeth that they don't just go into the jaw, they hook. And then the upper teeth the roots of the teeth that go into the sinus cavities. Fun times to be had by all. So when people's like, you don't really? Yes, I do. But it would be interesting to have to have the knowledge of our heritage. You can go down in North Carolina, and there are quite a few of the Cherokee people that are still in that area. Mm. And it's been years since I've been down there, but I don't even know if they know their own myths and legends. There's a few of the websites that you can find that have it. So, anyhow, I know that there's this little Navajo man that I'm subscribed to on the YouTubes that he tells about his tribe and their legends and what they believe in. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty cool thing.
You could link him.
Yeah. Oh, I can. I'm glad that you said that. I will do that. But the little peoples, it doesn't matter what culture the little peoples come from. Be kind to them.
Unless it's a gnome.
Well, that wasn't a little people. It was a different species there. That absolutely drop kick it and little thing. Mm-hmm.
What would happen if you just looked at it and were just no expression? Would it still fuck with you?
Probably.
Like get upset because you're not reacting to it?
I think that it would be really hard to see something that out of the ordinary. And that's the reason that people react the way that they do. It's this shock because it's something that is outside of their realm of understanding. Mm-hmm. So, the first time, yeah, that would be sort of like, why? But then the second time, it's like, there he is again.
It's like, huh, you're an odd-looking motherfucker.
Well, it's
creepy.
Well,
can I have one of your teeth?
It's like they didn't know what it was. And I can understand, and it would do malevolent things. But now the Nunnehi, they were helpful. they were beneficial. They took care of the people. They minded their own business.
Mm-hmm.
The Native Americans minded their own business, and I think that that's the way. If the world did that, we'd all get along much better.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
You went like you did your hands in like a pointing motion towards the peanut babies, saying the Nunnehi, and I'm like, are they part of the Nunnehi?
but they are
Because the
representative.
peanut babies.
They are representative of the Nunnehi. And what these little guys are, Kia can tell you, they are an older type of doll. It's what, celluloid?
Yeah, it's a type of plastic, very brittle.
So these are some of the inhabitants of our wall of fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to keep them to where cats, away from cats and
We call them
different things.
I call them the peanut babies because they kind of look like peanuts.
The little bodies look like peanuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we thought that it was a good story to bring them out and display them to the peoples. And the ones that were mashed, Kid did not mash them. You got them that way. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah, they were mashed in the photos and the listing photos, and I'm like, they're cheap.
Well,
Buying it.
and because that, the material is so brittle, if he tries to fix them, they will break.
Oh, they will crumble.
It's almost like in celluloid, that was one of the things that they used to make movies out of. Is it a similar material?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I can understand that. So, but he loves them. We loves them even if they're a little mashed.
It gives them character.
It does give them
Just
character.
like Hatchet Face from Crybaby. There's nothing wrong with her face. She has character.
Well, So it was about a 10 or 11 ounce cup today. It wasn't a full 20 ounce cup.
I don't
And it's
know.
all right.
We got to 20 ounces. And
Did
it's
we?
21 minutes.
Okay, well, maybe. So, if you've had experiences with paranormal, supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, the Nunnehi, that would be great. If you've got local, regional, family myths, legends, send us an email to cupofcoffeewithscream @gmail.com.
And if you liked this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that little notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. Yes. Goodbye.
Daily.
Daily. No breaks.
We'll see you
No
on,
breaks.
We'll see you on, it's my hobby. We'll see you on the next cup. You all have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you very much for sharing coffee with you. Bye.
Yeah.